Hello. So today I'm just going to show you really quickly how to use Desmos to graph your trig functions. And today specifically, we're going to talk about how to set your window, your viewing window, to go from negative 2 pi to 2 pi radians, and your y-axis as well. So that would be your x-axis, and your y-axis to go from negative 10 to 10, and what kind of step I'd like you to use. And then I'm going to have you graph multiple vertical asymptotes. And so I'm going to show you how to do that as well. So let's first start by setting our window viewing screen. So we're going to go to graph settings here, and we're going to make sure that we're set in radians, and we're going to start with our x-axis. What do we want our x-axis to stretch to? So for the purposes of what I would like to do, I'm going to go from negative 2 pi to 2 pi. So that's 4 pi stretch here. And I'd like to step by pi over 2. And so that will put, you see what happened on my screen here is now my x-axis is marked on all the pi over 2's from negative 2 pi to 2 pi. So that's my viewing window on my x-axis. And let's change our y-axis to go from negative 10 to 10. And we can go ahead and step that by 1. And if you don't like all of the grid lines on there, and I've done a little bit to mess up my viewing window there, so let me go back and fix that. Negative 2 pi, and just type in pi for pi, 2 pi, there we go. And then we're going to go from negative 10 to 10, just fixing that up. Step 1, okay? And so there you can see that viewing window. And so that's how you set your viewing window. Now I might ask you on your homework to go from 0 to 4 pi, or negative 4 to pi to 4 pi on your x-axis. So that's how you would change your viewing window, okay? And now what I'm going to also show you how to do is type in or enter equations for asymptotes, vertical asymptotes that repeat over the entire graph from negative 2 pi to 2 pi. So what I'm first going to do is define a variable. I'm going to define the variable as n, and I'm going to let n represent integers. Okay, so I'm just going to pick from negative 10 to positive 10 integers. And so to do that, I'm going to use a bracket, and then I'm just going to type in negative 10, and then a parentheses, and then an ellipse, 1, 2, 3, and then to 10. So that's got 21 elements in it. So it's negative 10, negative 9, negative 8, all the way to positive 10, right? So what I'm doing is just defining some numbers for a variable that I'm going to use. And now what I'm going to do is type in x equals pi. So you can see that that line popped up here on the screen, but I want it to graph an asymptote every time you hit pi radians. So I'm going to add n, and I've already defined n as an integer, 1, 2, 3. So n times negative 1, n times negative 2. Okay, and that has graphed all these vertical lines. And I'm going to zoom out so you can see here. Okay, now, but they're asymptotes. So here's how we're going to switch it so that it's a dashed line. Just click on that blue dot and change it to a dash line. And also, let's make it a little bit skinnier. Here is the line thickness. Let's go ahead and just make it 1. Let's try 1.5. And you can see that what happened there is that it graphed multiple asymptotes across my graph. So now if I wanted to do a function like f of x equals the 1 over tangent x, which is your cotangent x, you can see your graph graphed there, or your branches for your cotangent function are graphing between the asymptotes that I asked you to graph. And so that was the lesson, how to set your table, your window settings to go from a certain domain In this case, it was negative 2 pi to 2 pi with a step of pi over 2, and then your x-axis over a specific range, and I originally did negative 10 to 10 with a step of 1. I've, of course, zoomed in and out, and as I zoom out, in and out, that changes the window. And then I also helped you to learn how to type in multiple asymptotes, right? So I wanted asymptotes to graph it every time I hit pi. So 0 pi, 1 pi, 2 pi, 3 pi. So I defined n as the amount, the number pi that I wanted, 0 pi, 1 pi, 2 pi. I defined n as a set of numbers, integers, between negative 10 and 10. I could have put negative 100 and 100 for if I wanted to. It doesn't matter. That just means as I scroll all the way back and I scroll all the way forward, it's just going to put more and more vertical asymptotes in. Then I wrote the equation of my vertical asymptote, right? X equals pi times n, whatever n I defined up here. And I changed my line from a solid line to a dashed line, and I changed the thickness of it a little bit because it was too fat. See, it was originally that fat. And I guess it doesn't matter if you want to leave it at 2.5. You can really see the asymptotes pretty well. Okay, and so that's how you do those two things. And that's it.